Hello guys, this is network key points. In this video we're gonna be looking at the section 2, which is the network access. Here we're gonna be focusing on the 2.2 in the new CCNA 200-301, and it is configure and verify inter-switch connectivity. We have three bullet points here: the trunk port, the 802.1q, and the native VLAN. So as you can see here, I have a topology which is just consists of three switches. I have one layer 3 switch and two layer 2 switches. You can see I have two PCs on my switch 1 and then two PCs on my switch 2. So we're gonna be jumping into the CLI to see how to configure the interconnectivity. We're gonna jump right into the CLI to see how to configure this. It's gonna be a quick video, but I make sure I show you guys what to do when you want to configure a trunk port and how the 802.1q works. And before I go into this, let's take a look here and see what I've configured. I already pre-configured the two VLAN. I have VLAN 5 and VLAN 6. I do have the VLAN 5 and 6 configured on switch 1, as you can see. If I do show VLAN brief, which is how you can see what VLANs you have. You see I have VLAN 5 cells and I have VLAN 6, and I have already assigned the Ethernet port 0/2 to VLAN 5 and 0/1 to VLAN 6. Let's see what I have on switch 2. Show VLAN brief. I have the VLAN 5 and VLAN 6 already configured, but I have not configured the ports that belong to VLAN 5 or 6. So we're gonna do that just quickly while we're still on the switch 2. How to do that, I showed you guys how to do that in my first video, which is the 2.1. You can check my video and you find that video. It's gonna show you how to do that, but I'll show you right now. Under this one, we have the Ethernet 0/2 that is under VLAN 5, and we have the Ethernet 0/1 assigned to VLAN 6. So we go to do Ethernet 0/1, and that's gonna be assigned to VLAN 6. So we'll do switch port mode access, and then we'll do switch port access VLAN. You don't say which VLAN, that will be VLAN 6. You do the same thing for Ethernet 0/2. Here we're gonna do access mode, and then we do VLAN 5. So if we go right now and do show VLAN brief, you see we already have the two ports assigned to VLAN. So we're done with that. The next thing we're gonna do is to make sure we configure trunk port for the Ethernet 0/0 that is connecting us to the layer 3 switch, and Ethernet 0/0 on the switch 1 and on the switch 2. The 2.28 says trunk port, so just to give you an idea what a trunk port is, a trunk port is the port that is connected by or connecting a trunk link. But you can say that a trunk port connects a trunk link. So the link between the Ethernet 0/0 on DSW and switch 2 is gonna be a trunk link. A trunk link is a link that carries multiple VLAN. We have, as opposed to an access link, this is an access link. What we did now, we assigned the 0/1 to access link, which is an access port. We said it belongs to VLAN 6. And we did the same thing for 0/2, says it belongs to VLAN 5. So that is a single VLAN, but an access port, a trunk port does not belong to any single VLAN. It carries multiple VLAN. As we can see, we have two VLAN, VLAN 5 and 6. The reason we do the trunk port is so that the multiple VLAN can pass through the single physical connection that we have between the switches. Then on the 802.1q, it is the industry standard method of VLAN tagging. Simply see it as a way of tagging the VLAN while putting a VLAN tag to a frame while the frame is traversing between switches. Because if you don't have a tag, how would the DSW, which is the multi-layer switch, how would the switch know that the frame belongs to a specific VLAN? So that's the reason we use the 802.1q. One important thing also that you should remember in 802.1q, maybe you find that probably in an exam multiple choice question, is that it adds additional 4 bytes to the original Ethernet frame size. So we have 1518 bytes. If you add 4 bytes, it takes the size to 1522 bytes. So it's important you understand that. So, and this header, which is the 802.1q header, is inserted between the source MAC address and the type or the length of the frame. So it is important you know those concepts for your multiple choice question. But since we've taken care of that, let's go right on the multi-layer switch. And you can see I do have the VLAN 5 and 6 already configured there. So what we're gonna do right now is to go ahead and configure the link between the multi-layer switch and the layer 2 switch. So first of all, let me go ahead and configure the trunk link here. So I'm gonna do both together. It's gonna be configure 3. I'm gonna use a range method, which I showed you on the first video how to do. Since you're giving the same command for the same interface, for multiple interfaces, it's better to use the range command. So we're gonna do for 0/0 to 1, and we're gonna do here switch port trunk. We're gonna show the encapsulation .1q, and we're gonna say switch port mode trunk, and that's it. So this is gonna show you, if you can see, there's a message showing you this is configured. It's already come up. Now we jump right on this and go ahead. You can see some message there from spanning tree, which is gonna be covering, I'm gonna be looking at spanning tree in my future video, but right here we're gonna go ahead right now and configure the Ethernet E0/0 on switch 2 to become a trunk encapsulation .1q, and we'll do the same thing, switch ports mode trunk, and that's it. While I do it, another concept you can see that 2.2c talks about native VLAN. So what happens if switch receives a frame that is untagged? The switch will send that frame to the native VLAN. So anytime the switch receives or a trunk port receives a frame that is untagged, what it will quickly do is to forward that frame to the native VLAN. The native VLAN is where the frame that are untagged are forwarded. And one important concept is that the native VLAN must be the same on both ends of the trunk link. So which means the switch must have the same native VLAN. So if I say that the native VLAN is 1 on switch 2 on a trunk port connecting to the multi-layer switch DSW, then I'm gonna have to make sure that the DSW has the native VLAN on that trunk port as VLAN 1. Any mismatch will send the port, the spanning tree of course send it into inconsistency mode, which is what I'm gonna be looking at. But for now, just know that that trunk will not be functional if the native VLAN is mismatched between the both ends of the trunk link. So now that we did that, let's go ahead on switch 1 and configure switch 1 Ethernet E0/0 switch port trunk encapsulation .1q, and then we'll go ahead and do the switch port mode trunk. So we can verify now. To see how you verify that is you do show interface trunk. So as you can see, I have 802.1q trunking, the native VLAN is 1, and we do the same thing on DSW 2 and see what we have there. That will be show interface trunk. As you can see, it's trunking on both ends. The port 0/0 and then port 0/1, they are all the same trunking. And you can see the native VLAN is 1. Anytime the native VLAN is mismatched, like I said, the trunk port will not be functional. The CDP, which is the Cisco Discovery Protocol, will give you a warning. It will show you a message that there is a mismatch, and then it's gonna spanning tree is gonna be upset and it's gonna throw the port. You see that it tells you that it's receiving something on trunk in here, but that's not so. What we're gonna do right now is to see down that we have a trunk 10 PC, which is on VLAN 5. We'll be able to ping Bill, which is on VLAN 5 on switch 2. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. We have, what's the bills? Let me see. Bills is 511. So and 10, so we have 5, 11, and you can see the pin is successful. So that is done. The next thing we're gonna do, so our inter switch connectivity is working, but I want to take it to show you how you can achieve an inter VLAN routing between the VLAN, because right now if I ping the VLAN 6 PC, which is Tom, it's gonna fail because we don't have a routing. But I'm gonna go ahead and configure inter-VLAN routing, which is why I use the layer 3 switch between the two layer 2 switches. So if I ping 172.16.6.11, the ping will fail because it doesn't know how to get to that. So right now we're gonna go ahead on the layer 3 switch. Let me show you guys how to configure. All you gotta do is to configure what we call SVI, Switched Virtual Interface, using it as a gateway for VLAN 5 and VLAN 6. And to do that, you just do interface VLAN 5, and then we know no short, and then we assign an IP address, which is for VLAN 5. It's gonna be 192.168.5.1, 255.255.255.0, and we go ahead and do the same thing for VLAN 6. VLAN 6, we do that, no short. VLAN 6, we should be 172.16.6.1. Now, a while ago, when we pinged from Ken to Tom, the ping did not work. So the next thing we're gonna do anytime you do this is to make sure you also show IP routing. Exit from that mode, IP route. This is to enable routing capability in the layer 3 switch. So as you can see, both interface now, so we can go ahead and try to ping from Ken to Tom. As you can see, we lost a couple of ping due to app. So right now everything is pinging. We can ping from VLAN 5 to VLAN 6, and we can ping from VLAN 5 on switch 1 to VLAN 5 on switch 2. So everything right now is working. We have full connectivity between all the VLANs. And just in this video, to recap, we looked at how to configure the trunk port. Trunk port is a port that you connect between a trunk link, and it carries multiple VLAN. 802.1q, it's a standard, industry standard method of VLAN tagging. Just get it that way. Insert a 4-byte header between the source address and the type in the frame, just to make sure that the next switch that picks up the frame understands that this is gonna be for this VLAN. And the native VLAN is to take care of untagged frame that enter the trunk link. And that's it for today. I hope you guys find this video useful, and if you do, please do like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.